Hey everyone, this is Squall Snake, and I got my FunKey S in the mail just the other day, and I just wanted to make a quick video just to kind of highlight it and to talk about some of the cool features found in this tiny game device. So what's the main gimmick behind this thing? You might have seen pictures online, maybe even some other videos. This thing is very small. That is the whole gimmick behind this thing. To give you an idea, here is a Game Boy Advance SP, which is what the FunKey was originally modeled after, and its clamshell flip design. And if I just kind of put it on here, you can see that this is like 1/4 the size or so of a SP. So this thing is tiny. So what I'm gonna do, well, here quickly, it comes in this box. Here's your micro USB cable. It is not a new USB-C or anything like that, simply because it is just so small and they just literally could not fit it on there. You get some extra buttons. So if you do want to take this thing apart, you can add different colored buttons if you want, kind of have like a Super Famicom color scheme. And then it comes with the easy to read and very, very simple and basic instruction manual. It's actually pretty clever design because it looks just like the system. It has a function key, which is basically the select key. So if you hit select with any of the face buttons, you can adjust the brightness, the volume, take a snapshot, aspect ratio. You can do all that from just a quick button, couple quick button taps. And then this is the menu button. So if you hold it down, you can turn it off. And if you press it once, you'll get the menu, and I'll show you that in 1 second. And then it simply just says it's open source. Things are being added to this all the time. So easy to use. So I want to open this thing up, and right when you open it, here's the L and R buttons, by the way, and then here it comes with this keychain. I might even take this off. I think it actually kind of just gets in the way personally. And then you got your USB cable, and then that's it. There's 2 simple screws in the back if you do want to install these, and there is an SD card already in here. It's a 32 gig. I'm going to open this up, and immediately when you open it up, you don't have to flick a power button or anything. It boots right up to the main menu. So the games or the systems that this thing plays, let's go over this here. Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, GameGear, Master System, Genesis, PC Engine, aka TurboGrafx, got Atari links in here, Neo Geo Pocket. This will also play Neo Geo Pocket color games. That's one thing that even their website does not highlight. So there's Neo Geo Pocket and Neo Geo Pocket Color. Both will be played on here. The same goes for Wonderswan. You can play Wonderswan games and you can play Wonderswan color games. Another thing that's not really featured on their website but can be done. And then even the original PlayStation. So to give you an idea of the smallness of this screen, right? So your thumb, my thumb, essentially covers all the buttons at one time. And just for comparison, here's a Game Boy Advance game. Like the Game Boy Advance cartridge is bigger than the screen. I even have, here's a quarter. To give you an idea of like how big the screen is. It's basically, the button is even smaller than a quarter. And then I even have a $50. Remember these things? So I'm gonna put this down, but you can see like it's about the size of a $50 if you got one of these laying around. This is a pretty good comparison. So slightly different, slightly bigger, I'd say, than like a postage stamp. And just for comparison, here's some other stuff that I have. Here's the Game & Watch, Mario Game & Watch, just to give you an idea of size with this thing. I mean, it is just really, really small. You can put it on your keychain. It's durable when you flip it closed. This way the screen is protected. But the emulation in this thing is actually really good. I'm gonna play Game Boy Advance. Now, the one thing that is hard to do is actually text. So reading text in a game, because the screen is just so small. I added all these games in here, by the way. It will come with, by default, let's boot up Castlevania, because I think there's going to be some text in that. It will come by default. Every system has like 1 or 2 just kind of homebrew ROMs, just so you can see, just so you can kind of get your feet wet just as soon as you take it out of the box. But I added everything in here, all these other games myself. So I'm going to hit the menu button, and you can see the volume. And I'm gonna actually adjust the brightness because this is showing up weird on my camera. There we go. So there's a lot of different brightness settings. I mean, look at that. I mean, the camera kind of sucks. It doesn't pick it up right. But when you're playing in person, I usually hover right around here, like at the middle range, and that's plenty. I mean, you can jack this thing up. It'll drain your battery a little bit faster. No big deal, but So there's your brightness setting. I think maybe that's, you know, pretty good for the recording here. And then you could save it. You can load it with your save states. There's different aspect ratios kind of depending on the system that you're playing. I guess I'll just play, I don't know, stretch. Let's just, I'm not going to exit. Okay. So here's Castlevania. Yeah, that is stretched. That kind of looks a little bad, but all right, so here's Castlevania on Game Boy Advance. So, you know, it's easy to read because I got the thing all the way up on the camera lens so you can see the text. But when you're in game, let's see if I can get this started. You can see it's a little, it's tiny because you want to kind of be playing it like, you know, a little bit further away from your face. But the good news is the emulation is really good. I mean, I haven't played every game, of course, but the games that I have played, Game Boy Advance and PS1, they actually play well. You know, like PS1 might be a little shady with some games. There is no N64. I mean, that's a thing that the community will eventually add. And I know there is actually like a version of Mario 64 that you can add on this thing that's custom made just for this, using Mario 64 with the D-pad, the buttons. Obviously, you don't have an analog stick. That's going to affect the PS1 games that you can play as well, because some certain PS1 games have, I don't know if I can skip this, have the analog sticks. You got to use both analog sticks. Clearly, there's no analog sticks here. The other thing is using the, okay, here we go. Finally, we can play. So, I mean, it's definitely playable. I mean, it's something you got to get used to. Now, hitting the shoulder buttons is a little tricky because they're so tiny, and you got to like hold the bottom of the system to kind of brace yourself, because you kind of like they click. They don't like, I don't know, they don't like depress like a GameCube controller. It's just a firm, solid click like the rest of the buttons. So, I mean, it feels good. It definitely feels a solid click. All the buttons actually feel good, but you kind of like, I got to hold my pinky here at the bottom to like brace myself to hit the shoulder buttons, if that makes sense. So you get two speakers too. And here, I'll maybe turn up the volume just a little bit so you can get an idea. But yeah, this thing can crank out. Now it gets a little crackly. The video probably doesn't pick that up, but I'm gonna turn it down because that's really annoying. So if you are on the higher settings with the volume, the speaker's not fantastic, but at the same time, I mean, to be fair, look at the size of this thing. It's very small. So when you close it, it automatically saves it. So then when you reopen it, it'll boot back up to where you were. So they really thought of the portability with this thing. You simply just close the lid. Maybe you gotta, you know, oh, your train's here, you close the lid, whatever, and you could just, bam, boot right back up to where you were. So I'm gonna hit this and I'm gonna exit. And one thing to just keep in mind that I learned the hard way, because this thing is just a micro USB port, transferring data takes a really long time. So if you want to throw all your ROMs on here, one, the 32 gig memory card is plenty to store all these retro games. I mean, unless you're throwing a lot of PlayStation 1 games on here, you know, a 32 gig card is plenty. The other thing is the menu here. So you got the different themes. So when you get bin and queue files, so here's like Brave Fencer Musashi, for example, I have here. There's different, like one of these is a bin file, one of these is a queue file. I don't know which one it is because the screen doesn't scroll all the text. Now, granted, this is just one theme. There are different themes. I personally found this one to be the best because it shows the most information at one time, but it doesn't show the file extension names. But this is something that could be alleviated in the future if somebody makes a better theme. But if I just click on any one of these, you can also add pictures like the JPEG, even ping pictures for the box art, and that'll show up there. Obviously, that's going to increase your file sizes a little bit for this, but it's still enough to load up pretty much every game you want on here with the 32 gig card. You can add an additional card. I don't know if this game is going to load. Maybe I clicked on the wrong file. That's the thing. Maybe I clicked on the Q file when I was supposed to click on the bin file. But I don't know. It's not loading now. That's got me a little worried. But I think maybe no, we're not going to load. Maybe it'll load. It just takes some time with PlayStation 1 because it's a bigger game. I don't know. Give it the benefit of the doubt. All right, we'll cancel out of this. So that's a bad example. There you go. Did not load Brave Fencer Musashi, but I had a lot of these. Let's click on this one, see if it loads. Not really sure. I swear I was playing Brave Fencer the other day. It does work, but again, you're not having analog sticks. It's only going to be the D-pad. Nope, I don't know. Maybe I got to click on the first one. But anyway, that's the problem with the menu is you can't see which specific file to click on because you don't know which one is going to activate. Oh, here we go. I think this, yeah, there we go. Brave Fencer. So I had to click on the first one for whatever reason, whatever file. I don't know if that was the bin file, or which one it is, which Q file it was. But yeah, it plays, it works. You can play PlayStation 1 games on here. And yeah, I mean, from the games that I've played, again, I haven't played many of them, but the emulation, really good, surprisingly good here for a very tiny handheld that's the size of your thumb, basically. So that's it. I just wanted to go over some of these things just to give you an idea if you wanted to think about picking one of these up. I think it was under $100 for one of these. It takes a couple of weeks to ship because it does ship from China, so keep that in mind. But yeah, the FunKey, I don't know if it's supposed to be FunKey S, FunKey S. I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to say it. But anyway, let me know what you think. Did you get one? This is the gray model. They have a purple model. There's a couple extra other colors as well, maybe even some more in the future. But let me know what you think. Did you get one? Are you going to get one? I think the emulation's really good. The size, the form factor, really good. The battery life, pretty good as well, considering this thing is just so tiny. And yeah, you can clip this thing to your keychain because it is pretty durable with the clamshell design. It's really not going to get bumped or the screen isn't going to get ruined or anything like that. So let me know. You can follow me on Twitter at ZachGaz. I appreciate y'all watching. And until next time, thank you for watching and game on.